In recent years, many major franchises, ranging from Superman to The Terminator to Friday the 13th to even Disney's Mickey Mouse, have been subject to rights issues, which often have had an extremely detrimental effect on the properties in question. Another franchise which is subject to rights clashes behind the scenes is the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. You just haven't heard about it, because Warner have been able to keep a lid on the chaos and legal wrangling that is happening behind closed doors. We're here to change that. This video is sponsored by WinX DVD. The Nightmare on Elm Street franchise introduced Freddy Krueger to the world, an iconic movie monster that is up there with the likes of Dracula and Frankenstein. He still makes the occasional appearance in video games and other media, but nowadays it is the version from the remake in the guise of Jackie Earle Haley and not the original and iconic visage of Robert Englund. And there is a reason for that, which we are about to break down alongside the other rights issues in this video. Signaling the enduring legacy of this franchise, the original movies are even being given the 4K physical media treatment, something which is increasingly rare in the age of streaming. Even rarer nowadays is complete libraries of all the content you want, as rights issues mean your favorite content can be removed from any streaming service at the blink of an eye. Case in point, noticeably absent from both streaming and this 4K Elm Street box set are the key episodes of Freddy's Nightmares, starring Robert Englund, dealing with Krueger's origin story, which were present in earlier Blu-ray and DVD box sets, but now they're nowhere to be found. Stuff like that is a pet peeve for me, as well as yet another example of why you should preserve your physical media. Not just the priceless family recordings from special occasions, but also of your favorite content, because with time, it simply might not be possible to reacquire. As part of that preservation, you should consider taking digital backups as well, and for that, this video's sponsor, WinX DVD Ripper Platinum, comes into the picture. Whether you want a lossless copy of the disc for your Kodi or Plex, or a smaller format native to the device of your choice, or even fixed video aspect ratio and more, WinX DVD Ripper Platinum has you covered. Even DVDs that have some kind of damage that prevents them from being played back in a regular player may still have their contents preserved by WinX DVD Ripper Platinum. WinX DVD Ripper Platinum is safe to download and compatible with both PC and Mac, and right now they have an exclusive offer where you can buy 2, get 3 free in a bundle of 5 programs at 70% off, which includes WinX DVD Ripper itself, copy and media transfer programs, and most importantly WinX Video AI, a program which allows you to AI enhance and clean up your own rips. It can upscale blurry footage to 2K or 4K and wipe out image noise for a cleaner experience. Click the link in the description or pinned comment to claim your special offer today. And with that, let's get back to the rights issues plaguing Freddy Krueger. To fully appreciate what is going on here, we have to go half a century back in time and even set up the Elm Street situation by looking at some other properties where the situation is comparable. The background here is that in the 1970s, the US Congress amended copyright law by allowing authors or their descendants to terminate a grant of rights and reclaim ownership of their original property 35 years after its release. This is something the statutory owner can do, which is why ownership of, for instance, the Terminator reverted to James Cameron after he filed for that 35 years after the release of the original. In real time, this all went down after the release of Terminator Sega Genesis, but you as a viewer would never know anything happened, because Cameron, who had no intention of actually making another Terminator project of his own, instantly leased the Terminator rights back to its previous holder, Skydance, who then proceeded to make Terminator Woke Fate. Only they did so under license from Cameron, meaning a big paycheck was cut, but little else changed from the previous movie. This then serves to demonstrate that rights issues can be resolved and overcome as long as there is sufficient goodwill between the parties, and oftentimes sufficiently big paychecks tends to facilitate such goodwill. The problems arise when there is no goodwill, or when the asking price needed to buy that goodwill gets so high that it no longer makes fiscal sense for the paying party, yet there's too much money on the table for anyone to let go completely. In other words, when there is ego involved, or when there is a wide disparity between the parties in their respective assessment over how much the license is actually worth, the ensuing bad will between the parties can seriously hamper proceedings and lead to results that don't really benefit anyone, least of all the fans that want to see their favorite franchise continue. The prime example here, and one which we have covered before, is the Friday the 13th franchise. The Jason Voorhees franchise has been held up for years as the rights were divided and even legally contested between New Line, original creator Sean S. Cunningham, and screenwriter of the original movie Victor Miller. You'll find the full video for that linked to in the description. The update on that is that Victor Miller did win the legal battle to be recognized as the statutory owner of the screenplay of the original movie, which means that he now owns the rights to anything and anyone introduced in the original movie, but not the adult Jason or the hockey mask, as they were introduced in the later movies, making Cunningham the owner of those and everyone and everything else introduced from Part 2 onwards. Which is ironic, as Cunningham was against making Jason Voorhees the face of the franchise, and his mandate for Jason Goes to Hell the final Friday, something which was confirmed by its director Adam Marcus in an interview with our own Tom Connors right here on this channel, was to get rid of that goddamn mask. Even so, Cunningham is the owner of everything from the adult Jason and onwards, Victor Miller is the owner of everything from kid Jason jumping out of the water and backwards. That way, Victor Miller could license the production of the series Crystal Lake, a prequel to the original movie featuring young Jason and his mother to A24, while Cunningham and his chosen team at Horror Inc. can proceed with the Jason Universe initiative featuring the adult Jason. But Miller and Horror Inc. would have to license anything belonging to the other from each other as needed, and neither party can make movies or use the title Friday the 13th, as that belongs to New Line, and more movies would require all three parties to work together, and if that was going to happen, it would have many years ago. Meaning, rights issues alone are preventing any further Friday the 13th movies from appearing on the big screen. Now that we've seen what a nightmare rights issues can be, let's see which ones are happening in Freddy Krueger's realm over at Elm Street. Of all the slasher franchises, A Nightmare on Elm Street is by far the most popular and commercially successful, yet as of the making of this video, it has been 15 years since the last installment in the franchise, which was the 2010 remake, and rights issues are a big part of the reason why. As a matter of fact, there are a couple of different right issues at play here, and they come on top of the wholly separate issues with the series Freddy's Nightmares, which are the reason why that can no longer be included in future box sets. Let's begin with the simpler of the issues getting in the way of future movies though, namely the one pertaining to Freddy Krueger himself. Longtime viewers will of course know of the quintessential 25% difference between the original Star Trek and New Trek, which, to make a long story short, allows the original rights holder to monetize merchandise based on the image of William Shatner's original Captain Kirk, and Bad Robot to monetize the licensed 25% different Captain Kirk in the guise of Chris Pine. A similar situation actually exists with Freddy Krueger, where according to the sources of our own Tom Connors, Robert Englund himself owns a stake in the Freddy Krueger based on his likeness. That doesn't mean anything when it comes to releasing new editions of the original movies, as Warner and New Line already own those outright. But it does mean Robert Englund himself has to sign off on and be paid off for any and all new media using the Freddy Krueger in his likeness. That is why, in the aftermath of the release of the 2010 remake, Warner opted to use the 25% different Freddy Krueger in the image of Jackie Earle Haley in all new media. Not because they thought anyone preferred that version, but because doing so removed one layer of red tape and them having to cut in Robert Englund. And to the extent of which Jackie Earle Haley even gets a cut, it is significantly smaller than what Englund would be entitled to for his iconic image. That, however, is not what is holding up any further Nightmare on Elm Street installments. According to the sources of our very own Tom Connors, Warner are very keen to bring the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise back in some capacity, and by all accounts, so is Robert Englund himself, even if he has aged out of his ability to portray Krueger. But there is a third party here, which by all accounts are the ones holding everything up. The supposed reason why Warner were reluctant to make another installment in the years after the remake is that they were worried the heirs of statutory owner Wes Craven might file to reclaim the rights to the franchise once the original met its 35-year time limit. They did, and which indeed they won in 2019. Meaning, from 2019 onwards, Warner only owned the international rights to A Nightmare on Elm Street, not the domestic rights, which now belongs to the heirs of Wes Craven, which in turn means that Wes Craven's heirs would have to license the domestic rights to Warner and New Line before any more movies can be made, and before any deal with Robert Englund could even be contemplated. The hold-up then, according to our sources, is that Warner have not been able to reach an agreement with the heirs of Wes Craven after several years of trying. The details of why no deal has been reached is unknown to anyone but those directly involved, though if I were to speculate, my speculation would be that what the heirs are asking, Warner considers completely unreasonable, so much so that however much they may want to bring the franchise back, they're better off with it remaining in limbo than paying the price asked. I would again stress that that is pure speculation on my part. There may be something else going on here that we don't know, but my speculation would fit in with something the insider who goes under the moniker Warner Brothers guy let slip on Planet CHH while discussing the upcoming 4K Elm Street box set.
But the estate, I mean, and he can't say anything negative about Wes's kids or his family because look at his career. He wouldn't have it without Freddy.
Right.
So all I'll say is he owes so much to Wes that he will never cross those kids.
However much Robert Englund may want a resolution to the situation, and however frustrated he may be at the current state of affairs, he respects the legacy and memory of Wes Craven too much to speak out about the situation or say anything about Craven's children and family. What do you make of that, and what do you prefer? A franchise being split and locked to the small screen, which is where the future of Jason Voorhees is at right now, or complete limbo, which is where Freddy Krueger is stuck? Let me know in the comments. And before you go, remember to preserve your physical media with WinXDVD Ripper Platinum. And if you act now, you get an exclusive offer where you can buy 2, get 3 free in a bundle of 5 programs at 70% off. Link is in the pinned comment and description.